Hey listeners, want to share your opinions, give feedback, or tell me and Coach Sarah what you're thinking? Send us a voice message. Voice messages are an easy way for you to send us audio that might end up in a future episode of the Mantra Pod. They're the latest feature from Anchor, the platform we use to make this podcast. You can share a zinger that you hear or a cool phrase that we could use in the Mantra Open, or tell us how a mantra helped you move through a tough moment. We'll see all of your messages, and we might add them into a future episode, because Anchor makes that part easy for us as well. You can send us a voice message right now from wherever you're listening. Just tap the link in my show notes. I can't wait to hear from you. It's one thing to say that you're coached and loved. Showing it is next level, you guys. If you want to show the world how loved you actually are, head on over to fitnessprotection.threadless.com and check out our amazing selection of t-shirts, tanks, hoodies, water bottles, coffee mugs, and yes, a shower curtain. Because why not? Just picture your mother-in-law stepping on your coached and loved bath mat and drying her ass with our signature beach towel. It's amazing. You know your guest bathroom needs to be coached and loved just like you. Free domestic shipping on orders of $45 or more, and free international shipping on orders of $80 or more from now until June 16th with code FREESHIP619. Again, that's all caps, FREESHIP619 over at fitnessprotection.threadless.com. Today's episode is sponsored by Karma Project. There are 37 million vehicles across 19 manufacturers that have been recalled so far for having a deadly Takata airbag. 37 million! Do some good by alerting your friends and family about this recall and earn a $5 reward for checking your own vehicle. Chances are really good you or someone you know has a recalled Takata airbag in their vehicle right now. Both driver and front passenger position airbags are affected. This means that you and your passengers could be at risk of being killed or seriously injured by metal fragments shooting out of your airbag. I check to make sure I'm not affected, and it's important to me that all of you out there are also checking to see whether or not you're safe. All you have to do is take a picture of your license plate, then visit deadlyairbag.com/health. It takes just a minute, and for a limited time, you can get a $5 reward for doing it. Check now at deadlyairbag.com/health. It's urgent. Do not put this off. Check now at deadlyairbag.com/health.
My mom gave me a lot of things. One of the big things that she gave me was a hatred of styrofoam cups. Drinking coffee out of a cup you can chew? Blah. Thank you, Mom. Hi, this is Coach Sarah, and this is the Morning Mantra.
Hi, my name is MK Fleming. I'm a run coach based in Denver, Colorado. But this isn't a podcast about running exactly. Don't tell my clients, but we're never really talking about the running. When you know a craptastic event is coming, it helps to have a mantra to keep you centered and focused as you move through it. You don't have to be an athlete to be #coached and loved by Coach MK. And if you are here, then you are #winning at life.
Today's mantra is, this is it. This is it. So I recently discovered something called Poetry RX. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a poetry prescription. You write into the columnists at the Paris Review, and you give them the situation that you're moving through, and they respond with some thoughts and with a poem to help center you and to give you something concrete to cling to as you go through your situation. And this reminds me so much of what we do here at the Morning Mantra podcast, actually. And so often when I am thinking of my mantras, my contributions, I turn to poetry because of this very specific way it can evoke an emotion, the way it can make you feel seen in how it articulates something that you've been feeling but haven't had the words to put together. If there's one thing that I do not regret about spending many, many years studying Italian literature, it's the way that I am so open and raw in the face of poetry. I cannot resist the emotion of poetry. So I'm going to try to share a little bit of that with you today. We've had a lot of listeners recently who've written in for help dealing with the loss of someone they love. I probably don't need to remind anyone listening of this. Grief is a thing that unfolds over the course of perhaps the rest of your life. It never ends. It's a slow and gradual discovery of all the ways there are to miss that person. Some of the ways you already knew about, other ways you had no idea. They'll come upon you when you're least expecting them, like when you're drinking from a styrofoam cup. And if you are currently coping with loss, however recent, however distant, this reflection is for you. Last week, on May 22nd, it was 19 years since my mom died. 19 years is, at this point, way longer than the actual amount of time I lived with her. And yet, it feels like it is only the beginning. And if anything, it feels like it only gets stronger and more immediate all the time. The ways I miss her, the places I miss her, the reminders of where she would be but isn't. They continue to reveal themselves to me, and sometimes I wish the pain would stop. But this intense memory and longing are just as beautiful as they are painful, and if I were to give them up, then in some ways I would be giving her up too, for they are how she lives. She lives everywhere that I look and think and feel. And one of the things I miss most about her was her capacity to feel. One of the things that makes her so memorable. Everything that annoyed her didn't just annoy her, it really, really annoyed her. She could not let things go, at least not right away. And the things that she loved, she could not stop raving about them. This meal, this view, this song, this book. Turn around and look at the view. I often stop to reflect, oh, Mom would love this, or Mom would hate this. And every year in the month of May, this awareness of Mom and how she lived intensifies. From the build-up to Mother's Day early in the month, to her death anniversary on the 22nd, to the anniversary of her memorial service on the 26th, every little piece of daily life, especially the repetitive everyday parts, the styrofoam cups, become charged with meaning. I scrape my bumper against a fire hydrant while parallel parking. Mom would probably find that funny, unless it was her doing it. My daughter's toys are all over the floor, and I just stepped on a triangular block point up again. Isn't anyone going to clean up this mess? And then the cleaner comes, and I walk in at the end of the day, and the gleaming floors just calm my central nervous system. And I think, oh, this is why Mom loved clean floors so much. This is my mother living in me. To take us to the mantra, we're going to go through part of a poem called What the Living Do by Marie Howe. I'll include a link to the entire thing in the show notes for this episode. I'm just going to quote a piece, starting here. For weeks now, driving or dropping a bag of groceries in the street, the bag breaking, I've been thinking, this is what the living do. And yesterday, hurrying along those wobbly bricks in the Cambridge sidewalk, spilling my coffee down my wrist and sleeve, I thought it again. And again later, when buying a hairbrush. This is it. Parking, slamming the door shut in the cold. What you called that yearning. End quote. This is it. This is living. Life goes on whether we want it to or not, and we move through these collections of sensory experiences, some of which pass us by completely. And sometimes every single one of them feels like a conversation with your person who's no longer there. Willingly inhabit these experiences. When the memories descend upon you when you're struck in the middle of something totally ordinary with a longing for this person who you love, let it in and let it remind you how they loved you, how you loved them, and how you moved through the world together. The last few lines of Marie Howe capture this very exact feeling. But there are moments walking when I catch a glimpse of myself in the window glass, say the window of the corner video store, And I'm gripped by a cherishing so deep for my own blowing hair, chapped face, and unbuttoned coat that I'm speechless. I am living. I remember you. End quote. There's comfort in living. There's comfort in how mundane and universal and shared our experiences are. This is it. The ordinary, powerful, daily life, which is all the more enhanced when you are close to loss. Early in the post-mom years, I would frame the loss of her as a reminder to make each day count, a reminder that life is precious and nothing should be wasted. Don't waste it. Don't sweat the small stuff, right? But my mom sweated the small stuff. That's how she lived. That's how she didn't waste a moment, because she felt everything so intensely. Sometimes she regretted the intensity of her feelings about things like messy floors. But when I think about making each day count, it almost implies that there's somehow an alternative, and that without some intentionally meaningful act, the day would be wasted. But what I love about Marie Howe is this reminder that nothing is wasted. The everyday, the ordinary, the places that your people who you've lost inhabit and come into you when you are least expecting them. The styrofoam cups. These are the parts of living that are full of the people we love. Many moments are special, but many more moments are mundane and boring and annoying, and yet poetry is here and memory is here in the most mundane, boring, and annoying moments. Living is an act of remembrance if you keep your heart open and you let the memories descend upon you when it is their time, and they will let you know when it is their time. Living is the poetry. This is it.
You are coached, you are loved, and you are winning at life. And you are definitely winning at life if you subscribe to my Nuzzlenut newsletter, follow me on Facebook, or follow me on Instagram. Feel free to do all three. Kristen and Chill is a comedy podcast that gets real about depression, therapy, and daily struggles. Often irreverent and lighthearted, conversations range from minor social anxiety to mental health and everything that happens in between. Kristen and Chill also covers topics such as having friends with depression, weight gain, suicide prevention, adult bullying, and more. So if you're looking for a more lighthearted take on these things, go check out the show. Search Spotify and wherever else you listen to podcasts to hear more than 80 endearing episodes of Kristen and Chill. You can also join the conversation and find Kristen on Twitter at Kristen Carney. If you're enjoying our podcasts, especially the ones that Coach Sarah does, you can check out the transcripts over at www.coachedandloved.com. All of our existing transcripts are on the blog in the category Podcast Transcripts. Crazy! I know, they're totally hidden. Head on over to www.coachedandloved.com. We got all kinds of things to say, and that is where we say them.